All right, despite the mountain of evidence against Sussmann, prosecutors still face an uphill battle, in part because of the Clinton donors in the jury pool. Here now with more is Fox News contributor and George Washington law professor Jonathan Turley. Professor, thanks so much for joining us here. You've written about this. I really appreciate your comments on this, but what is it? 3 of the jurors are actually Clinton donors? Why in the world are they sitting in this jury pool?
Right. Well, it's sort of a bizarre twist. When we guarantee you a jury of your peers, we don't mean that if you're a Clinton person, you'll be tried by other Clinton people. And you can sort of feel like John Durham might take away the lesson that that's the case in D.C. Because, 90% of people voted for Hillary Clinton in D.C. And so the jury pool is going to be naturally heavily weighted in that direction. But there is a difference between a Clinton supporter and a Clinton donor. I mean, when you're a donor, it's a much more active role. It's different from just voting for Hillary Clinton. So we have 3 people who indicated that they are, in fact, Clinton donors. We also have another person who said that she's a donor to AOC, and had to be sort of probed and sort of prodded, I should say, to say that she was going to be actually impartial. And these people very well could be impartial. They could be fair. Certainly Clinton supporters can be fair and impartial jurors. But when you have donors on the jury, it raises real concerns. There's also a juror, by the way, whose daughter plays on a team with Sussmann's daughter. And the judge said, I'm going to let that go through as well. So for John Durham, I think that the impression is that, short of having Chelsea Clinton on this jury, I couldn't be doing much worse in terms of a jury pool. Now, having said all of that, I don't mean to suggest that these jurors are going to be biased. They very well could be impartial. Jurors take things very seriously. What is very clear at this point is that the evidence against Sussmann is overwhelming. I mean, Sussmann's text to Baker states very clearly, I am not representing any client. And the prosecutors have said he was, and he was billing that time to the Clinton campaign. But now that we have this bombshell of Mook saying that Hillary Clinton personally greenlighted this effort, these juror connections become more of a concern. They certainly become more magnified. Because one of the jurors was told by a defense attorney, don't worry, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are not on trial here. And the juror said, oh, okay, then I think I really can be impartial. Well, as of Friday, Hillary Clinton was very much part of the testimony.
You've also commented about the difference between the way General Flynn was dealt with and the way this prosecution is going. Can you explain to us the difference between the two? Because the judge is making very different rulings.
Right. Well, Jason, as you recall, we had a perfectly bizarre situation with Flynn. Judge Emmett Sullivan, even in one hearing, accused him of basically treason, using the flag in the courtroom as a prop. And Sullivan seemed to remove every obstacle from the path of prosecutors. Judge Cooper has really been tough on the prosecution. He has narrowed the scope of evidence and of questioning. He's made a number of rulings that the prosecutors have very much objected to. And it's sort of like an obstacle course for John Durham in that sense. So he's got a tough jury and a very tough judge. And this is in the same courtroom. This is in the same courthouse, I should say, in D.C. And I think people look at those two trials and they say, wow, this is a really striking and fairly glaring difference. It's the same charge about lying to federal investigators, but you couldn't have a greater difference in terms of the optics and in terms of these orders.
Now, when you look at this and you're analyzing, again, the jury pool, it's in Washington, D.C., do prosecutors make the mistake of overcomplicating it? Because it is a very simple one-charge case here.
Well, that's true, although it is fascinating to see what happened in the courtroom because the defense had won. In narrowing the case, Cooper gave them critical rulings, told Durham that he couldn't bring in this broader context of the Clinton campaign and also the specific data that was generated. They won those fights, and then they decided to put Mook on the stand. And he became Johnny the Human Torch right on the stand. I mean, all of us have had bad experiences in court, but few would compare to that. I mean, Hillary Clinton, there's a general rule in Washington that thou shalt not name Hillary Clinton in a scandal if you're a Democrat. And this thing really violated that commandment in D.C. I mean, you have Mook saying that, oh, this was raised to her. Now, keep in mind that Durham has already documented that the researchers who put together this material said that they didn't think it would stand up to scrutiny. They said that people could really mock us for what we're saying here. And then Hillary was reportedly told, we really don't have anything clear here. And she green-lighted it, and they gave it to Slate. And Slate ran with it. And then we see this familiar pattern, right? They get friendly media to run it, and then they respond as if they had nothing to do with it. Right, so they then you have Jake Sullivan and Hillary Clinton tweeting out, wow, look at what Slate just reported. And at the same time, you have associates pushing these claims in the FBI. It's the same pattern for both the Steele dossier and the Alpha Bank scandal.
Yeah, and you know what? Slate comes out with it, and they all report it, and they regurgitate it. But suddenly you have a campaign attorney in a federal courthouse charged with a crime, and he's talking about Hillary Clinton, and the media are absolutely nowhere in reporting it. We're going to talk about that next. Jonathan Turley, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Hannity.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.